Welcome back to another episode of ROC Boys Football as we take a look at an ACC matchup in the Week 4 college football slate as Virginia Friday night goes on the road to what was formerly known as the Carrier Dome to face the Syracuse Orange. This is a team in Syracuse that I just completely got wrong during my summer scouting. I take a look at this team. I watched the film back from last year. Look who they have coming back. Look who they've gotten in the transfer portal. And there was just nobody that really excited me or scared me on this offensive side of the ball besides Sean Tucker. I mean, Garrett Schrader is a good athlete, but was one of the least efficient and least accurate quarterbacks in the ACC last year. They don't really have any weapons coming back that really scared me. They lose Taj Harris, who didn't play much last year, but was really the only real playmaker I thought was on that side of the ball. I was not optimistic at all about this Syracuse offense outside of Sean Tucker. And when you're that one-dimensional, it's really hard to score points. On the defense, I thought they were going to be pretty good. I really like their back seven. Guys like Mikel Jones, Marlo Wags, Garrett Williams. I think they're all studs. And I thought their defense was going to be pretty good. What I totally missed was that offense. I mean, you bring in the new OC and Robert Anae from Virginia, actually, and this offense looks completely different. Garrett Schrader is now statistically one of the best quarterbacks in the ACC. These wide receivers are making plays. The run game has been pretty solid. I mean, Sean Tucker only averaging 3.8 yards a carry. He kind of had a down week against Purdue. But this offense is absolutely cooking. And what I want to talk about, especially in that Purdue game, about this Syracuse team is it was sloppy. For 3 quarters, Syracuse could not really move the ball on offense. Really, the only way they were moving the ball was getting some pass interference calls, moving the ball with penalties. Through the air, I mean, they couldn't get anything going. What you learn from the Syracuse team is Garrett Schrader, that Syracuse offense, they're gamers. I mean, that's something that you didn't see Syracuse pull out those kind of games the last couple of years. To pull out a game where you don't play your best football in 3 quarters, and then in the 4th quarter, you make the plays that you need to make to win a game against a Big Ten opponent that almost beat a team, Penn State, who just went down on the road and beat Auburn. I mean, Purdue is a very, very good team. I was on Purdue. I thought they were going to win. Syracuse gets it done again. As a kid from Rochester, I love it. It's good for Western New York football. I'm very happy to see Syracuse thrive. Now, Virginia's coming to town, and I actually like this play a lot. Syracuse is 9.5-point favorites against Virginia. Talk a little bit about Virginia. They have Brennan Armstrong, who's one of the best quarterbacks in the ACC, was one of the better quarterbacks last year. They return a lot of really, really good skill positions. Devontae Wicks, Keontae Thompson, Billy Kemp. A pass-catching group that I think is one of the best in the country. What's their big hole? All 5 of their starters from last year on the offensive line are gone, and you see Tony Elliott comes in from Clemson. Side note for Virginia fans and Cuse fans and whoever's watching, I don't get the Tony Elliott hire. You watch that. He's a Clemson OC last year. You watch that Clemson offense last year. I don't know how you can say, I want that guy to be my head coach who is running that Clemson offense. Now, he might work out and implement what he wants to do, but coming off of the year Clemson had with all the talent they had on offense to put up that type of performance and then go out and hire the guy, thought was questionable. Now, you come in, and Brennan Armstrong is still good. He's a good quarterback. I watched a few of the games back. He still can make those throws. The difference is he went from having one of the veteran offensive lines in the country to not having any returning starters, guys who cannot pick up blitzes, guys who cannot really pass protect at a high level. And so now Brendan Armstrong, instead of throwing from the pocket, clean pocket, delivering strikes to these playmakers, really throwing off the spot. I mean, having to pretty much scramble for his life, most dropbacks. They're not even trying to throw the ball as much as they were with Robert Anae last year as the OC. They're trying to establish the run game. And quite frankly, this Virginia offense has been brutal. I mean, they can't really move the ball through the air. The yards passing is 236 yards per game, 176 yards per rushing. They just aren't really moving the ball effectively. And then even more importantly, they're not scoring touchdowns in the red zone. You see the total yards, 413 yards per game. That's pretty good. That translates to 17.7 points per game versus Syracuse has a very similar yardage per game, but they can run the ball more effectively. So when they get in the red zone, they can score points. They're scoring 37 points per game. I'm just not very high on this Virginia offense. And the Syracuse offense, has surprised the hell out of me. And so you're coming and asking Virginia to come up. They've really, really struggled throughout the season, barely beating an Old Dominion team last week. They're banged up. To be the Syracuse team that is playing their best football we've seen them play in the last couple of years, a loaded defense. Another thing I want to mention that I think will be kind of an X factor is Syracuse has so many versatile players on this defense side of the ball. They don't return a ton of defensive linemen, but in terms of linebackers, safeties, we talked about guys like Mikael Jones, Marlo Wax. They can do so many different things. They can do so many different formations, so many different personnel groups, disguising those blitzes really well, which I thought they did pretty well against Purdue. Virginia, an offensive line that has not played a lot of football, especially together. Picking up those different blitzes, communicating on who you're picking up when the blitzes are coming. I think that'll be an X factor. I think Syracuse is going to be able to get home with a lot of these blitzes and force Brennan Armstrong into not great passes. I mean, he's thrown 3 interceptions this year to only 2 touchdowns. Garrett Schrader is taking care of the ball extremely well. I expect the turnover margin to be in Syracuse's favor. I expect the yards, the offense to be in Syracuse's favor. I think they have the better offense. I think they have the better defense. I think they're playing way better football than Virginia. They're at home in the, what's it? I'm just going to call it the Carry Dome. I'm sorry. I do know the JMA Wireless Dome. Excuse me. They're at home. The Syracuse fan base is buzzing. I follow a bunch of Syracuse fans on Twitter. They are very excited about this program. I think you're going to see a very, very rowdy Wireless Dome. Virginia's coming in, not playing good football. Syracuse is playing top-notch football. I think Syracuse can hang 35 points, and I don't really see Virginia moving the ball that effectively. I do think Syracuse covers that 9.5 points. If you get it inside of 10, I really do like that play. I'm kind of on the Syracuse bandwagon. They've been bad for a couple of years. But this offense, the new offense and how they're playing football on both sides of the ball, I'm kind of falling in love with it after going back and watching that Purdue game, after going back and watching that Louisville game. This is a very, very fun team to root for. I'm excited for Friday night. Hope you guys are too. And I hope you guys enjoyed the content. Again, if you guys do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We really do appreciate it. Seriously, all the support means a lot. Talk to y'all later. Peace.